Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name is Stephen Howson. This is Tactical Preview of Manchester United versus Everton. Today's brought to you in partnership with the Betfair Exchange. I'm going to be talking about my bets a little bit later on. How good has this week been? How good has it felt to watch Manchester United turn over Tottenham, turn over Manchester City, and then absolutely thrash AZ Alkmaar Thursday night? Fantastic week for United fans. Can we keep this going? That's my question to you guys. And if you was backing my bets last weekend, which we had in partnership with Betfair, then you'd have made some dosh as well. So I said, lay City to win 2-0. Now, laying means I'm not sure that's going to happen, or I don't think that's going to happen. So we laid that, said, if City are going to beat us, it ain't going to be 2-0. So I laid that one, and that one came in. And I also had Marcus Rashford, first goal scorer, at 10.5. And I said, stick a tenner on it. If you did, you would have won over £100. And plenty of you did do. And you hit me up on Twitter as well. So if you're doing that again this week, hit me up with your bets on Twitter and I'll give them a share. But before we get into all of my bets for this week, let's talk about the form and the guides and what Solskjaer's saying this weekend then. So Solskjaer in the press conference said he's not sure about Jesse, but he hope he can feature. Now, if you've noticed recently when he said that, that person started. So I am going to start Jesse in my team, and I'll go through that when we get into my team. He says next week, Eric's going to start training. Timbo's going to start training. Paul's going to start training with us next week as well. So it looks like we're getting a lot of those injuries coming back. Fred, McTominay and Rashford, unused substitutes, while De Gea, Wan Bissaka, Shaw, Lindelof and Dan James were given the night off. A night off. Imagine that, in preparation for their Premier League duties. Now, I do imagine that probably does mean that Luke Shaw is probably going to feature, but I've not picked him. You know who I've picked, and I'll tell you why I've picked him a little bit later on. Form-wise, Manchester United sit 5th in the Premier League after wins over Spurs and City. Just in case you didn't hear that, I will say that was after back-to-back wins over Manchester City and Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur. A third one on the bounce could see United only 2 points away from 4th spot. Obviously depends on Chelsea. And to be honest, they're in a bit of a spin at the moment, so they could go either way with that. We are unbeaten in 5 Premier League games, 3 wins and 2 draws. Form's looking decent. On the opposition, Duncan Ferguson will be in charge in the weekend after a great start to life as Everton caretaker boss, beating Chelsea 3-1 last Saturday. Everton have won 2 out of their last 5 games. They do have some injuries. Seamus Coleman could be in consideration. Delph is a doubt. Mina is a doubt. And Digne also could be okay for Sunday. Theo Walcott may not be ready, according to the gaffer. Everton have only kept 3 clean sheets this season, conceding almost 1.75 goals on average in every single game. Richarlison is their top scorer, and I also think he's probably the top threat. I'm not overly worried about Calvert-Lewin, although I realise I'm definitely setting him up to come and score against us for saying that. Key player for Manchester United, I think, this weekend is probably going to be the one and only Marcus Rashford. He's been in sensational form of late. The amount of goals that he's scoring are just frankly ridiculous. He's a joy to watch. For me, against Tottenham especially, he sort of leveled up. He sort of became something else. He sort of had time on the ball. He was willing to just pick his shots. He's just been outrageous. In the Premier League this season, he's got 10 goals in 16 appearances. He's going to tell you that's 11 goals, and I'm not going to disagree. 4 assists, which means it should realistically, because he didn't even get an assist for that one against Villa. For me, there you go, add that. That's 11 goals, 4 assists. That's 15 goal contributions in 16 games. Trafford, Rashbeck, where's all that gone? Outside of that, he's also scored outside, and he's doing well for England as well. He's in sensational form. Marcus Rashford, key player for United. If he has a good game, if he's able to continue what he's doing, the streak that he's on, United are winning this game, and Marcus Rashford's going to have a massive say in that. Let's have a look at my starting 11 for this week then. So, no shocks, going with David De Gea in net. I think Wan Bissaka's probably going to come back into defence as well. I have gone with Lindelof alongside Harry Maguire because I do think that he got the night off, didn't he? So let's be honest, he's probably going to get flung straight back into the team. Although I do think Axel's probably going to put pressure on him later on in the season. Brandon Williams, left back. Yes, Luke Shaw got the night off. Yes, Luke Shaw's very likely to start in this game, but I'm not picking him because I want to see Brandon Williams. I think the movement of the guy in the final third, the press that he gives, yes, he's rash, and yes, he probably gets caught out of position a little bit, but he's got the pace and the stamina and the ability to get back and actually rectify it when he does, much like, a little bit like Wan Bissaka. In the final third, when he's coming up to the edge of the box, those little outside of the foot passes into someone around the D, around the number 10 sort of area, where he then initiates a move. Luke Shaw hasn't even heard of that. Like, Luke Shaw doesn't have that sort of off-the-ball movement to be able to drag players out of position. And you want to ask why United are scoring more goals? Brandon Williams is a big factor in why United are scoring more goals, because he's causing havoc. His movement off the ball is making people think, and that's taking attention away from players that are actually going to get the ball and actually going to do something in the box. Fred and McSauce in the middle, after the performance that them two have had in the last week or so, they have to play. It's as simple as that, and I'm hoping that they can continue the good form that both of them have been in. We obviously heavily miss Scott. We've seen what he can do. And actually, Everton, they're a bit of an enigma, aren't they? We don't really know how they're going to come for us. So I'm interested in seeing how this one's going to play out. Fred obviously had a great game against Manchester City, possibly his best in a United shirt. Dan James on the right. Jesse Lingard. Probably going to divide a lot of opinion on this one, but I don't see any other options, to be honest with you. It's either Pereira, who's got the decision-making of a fucking brick. It's Mata, who proved how slow he was, despite some excellent touches against AZ Alkmaar. It's got to be Jesse for me. Against Tottenham and against City, created 4 chances in both of those games, which was more than anybody else. He's got to play. On the left, Marcus Rashford, and then up front, Tony Marshall. And one of the people who's benefited the most from Tony Marshall returning to the team is Marcus Rashford. Whatever he's doing by occupying defenders, whatever the movement is, he is having a big part in the form of Marcus Rashford. So that is my 11. Let's have a look at my bets for this week then. First one that I'm going to go with, and I think it's down to the confidence that United are playing with. I think Everton is not just a winnable game, but a comfortably winnable game if everything goes to plan for us, of course. We could get shocked. And I'm going to go with 2-0 United. And that's currently 10.5 on the exchange. Now, on the exchange, you do get better odds than you get on the sportsbook, which is weird. 15-2 is what it currently is on the sportsbook, which means banging a tenner on, you're probably going to get at least £20 more for your returns if this bet comes in. So why wouldn't you use the exchange? You just get better odds. My second bet then is going to be a lay bet. Now, I think Everton to not win. So that's what we're doing on the lay bet. We're going to say Everton to not win. So to go to the bet for Everton to win, you'll see it in blue. You'll see it in pink. Blue is the back bet. Pink is the lay side. Let's click and lay it. And the odds on there are currently at 5, meaning my liability even, is 20. And I'm going to win a 5 off that. Remember, I'm taking the bookie side when I'm laying a bet. I'm saying that's not going to happen. So I'm going to give you the odds on the other side. If Everton lose, I only lose if Everton win. Simple as. I only lose when Everton win. So I get the draw and I get United win. So I get like a bit of a double chance with this one. I think that's doable. Laying it effectively gives that little bit of a backup should I need it. If you fancy either of those, there's a link in the description to sign up. There's also a link in the description for more information. If you need more information on what the differences are between backing and laying, please ensure that you're over 18. Only gamble what you can afford to lose. And if you need any more information, visit begambleaware.org. Give us your score predictions in the comments below. I'm going to go and check out the questions off Patreon. Harry Parker says, do you think Greenwood should start over Marshall given how special he is? I'm going to say not just yet, but I think there's probably going to be times when you see Greenwood playing alongside him and possibly playing him instead of him as a bit of a rotational thing. But by the end of the season, I would hope Greenwood has had the opportunity at least to force his way into the starting 11. Do we expect to see Shaw and Wan Bissaka again since Brandon played against AZ? Very realistic, but I don't want to pick him. Luke, the front three is reminiscent of Wazza. I think the front three is reminiscent of Wazza, Ronaldo and Tevez. That's a bit excited. Those were European champions and three-time back-to-back Premier League winners. These lads look very fluid and they're very attacking and very direct, but there's a bit of a difference between Ronaldo, Rooney and Tevez just yet, isn't there? What is our best bench if the first team play? It depends what you're trying to cover up for, doesn't it? What injuries do you think you've got? I don't know what our best bench is, really. I mean, who you bringing on? Because for me, Wan Bissaka doesn't change things. Are you trying to change a game? Are you trying to chase a game? Are you trying to see a game out? I think you've got to account for those sort of potential scenarios. With Brandon starting in Europa, does that mean somehow Shaw is back to first choice left back? Yes. Lads, can we look at the previous comments? Because I'm going to answer them from top to bottom, don't I? So if someone else has asked the same question, don't bother asking it. With our current available players, what formation is best, which players make that starting 11? Pretty much what I've just give you. if we've got what's available, and that is what's available. The formation, it's probably this one, but the formation that suits us best for me is, without a shadow of a doubt, the 4-3-3, if Pogba was fit. Who do I think will score the first goal and the final score? Marcus Rashford would be my first goal choice, and I think we can keep a clean sheet again, and that's why I went for 2-0 in my bet. Does Mason get some starts in the league over the Christmas period? Maybe Burnley. The thing is that's the game that I expect us to slip up in, to be honest, looking at the fixtures. That might be when he goes, do you know what, we only need one pivot, and I'm going to go with 2 strikers, let's have it. And if he does, that's party time, I think. United will definitely go for that one. Red Dead Brandon says, with our starting 11 starting to take shape, we are really left with 3 contentious positions. Number 10, left back and centre half. Everton are likely to come and set up in a low block and a bank of 4 and 5. Am I playing Matter in the hole or Jesse to look to move between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-4-2, with Jesse playing the famous king position between the lines? Yeah, I went with Jesse because Jesse can jib in as a false 9, and Jesse can get beyond. And actually, Jesse in those positions does great. My issue is how the balls get into him, because that's where I think we struggle. Getting the ball to Jesse from Fred and McTominay is what the issue is. On Sunday after the game, let's have a look at how many times Jesse received the ball and who he received it off. Someone remind me in the comments, and we'll do that after the game. Mark, is the height and physicality of Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison a major threat? Will Lindelof get exposed? They should target him, and Duncan Ferguson should know the benefits of using strikers like that, because that's exactly what he was. I would expect him to know how to do that. Richarlison, I think, is going to be an issue. Calvert-Lewin, I think, is quite basic, and I would expect Maguire can deal with him. But if you're them, you try to isolate Lindelof. You definitely do. Sean, Gil Sigurdsson scored 4 goals in the last 5 Premier League away games against United. How do we stop him? Don't let him shoot from distance, because he's not scoring tap-ins, is he? Just get close to him when there's like loose balls and stuff and just block him, because he's definitely going to try and ping one. Will Matic get more games in the league? Fucking hope not. If Pogba was back on Sunday, where would you start him, or whose place does he get? I'd probably play him over Jesse. But I'd make him more of an 8 than a 10. Matt, does selling Pogba in January free up funds from Maddison and Haaland? Are the funds already here? I have no idea what's in our bank account. Very little. Looking at the state of Old Trafford, I would hypothesize. I think United are probably going to spend regardless. I don't think you're getting Maddison and Haaland in January. I think that's an absolute pipe dream. I think if you get in Maddison, it'll be the end of the season, because obviously he's got to go and win the league with Leicester. That's his mission. Them having Dunk as a manager means they will try and play us. I don't know if it does. I don't know enough about Duncan Ferguson as a manager to have any idea what he does in different circumstances. We have got a sample size of 1 match, so it's very difficult to try and get any sort of analysis out of that. What do I think about Marshall against AZ? Didn't look great when he was on, and once he went off, we looked a little bit better. I thought he was a bit sulky, to be honest, but I'm wary of saying sulky with Marshall because I know that's just his resting face. If Duncan Edwards maintains... I said fucking Edwards again. I can't think of any other Duncans apart from Edwards. Right, so I'm going to call him Big Dunk from now on, meaning Duncan Ferguson. If he maintains his 100% win record, will he confirm himself as the greatest manager named Ferguson of all time? I might just get you banned out of that server. What a ridiculous statement. Come on, man. There's no better manager than Fergie, ever. Will we see Chuanzebe against Everton? I don't think so. How much progress have we seen since we last played Everton last season and got beat? Oh, that's a great question, actually. Points per game wise, it's been minor. I think confidence wise, at this point and at that point, it's totally different. It'd be interesting to find out, won't it? Reckon it's better if Pogba is saved for the EFL game instead of Ferguson's relatively unknown Everton. Yeah, if he's only just started training with him, Ollie's basically said he's not going to play, doesn't he? I hope Ollie goes for Shaw at left back and plays Brandon, but what is the chance I get that? Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think it probably won't be, but, you know. What are the chances of Laird playing instead of Wan Bissaka? I think Laird's probably going to feature in the EFL game, to be honest, and I think that'll be fine. Can Delo be turned into a right winger? No. I've asked that 47 times. No. Michelangelo, no doubt we will be back to our consistently inconsistent ways and produce horrendous performance. I hope not, though. If we start picking up wins with lower half teams, that will be a real sign of progress. Correct. I worry for that. I really do, because I am less confident against the teams like this, like Everton, where you go, they're shit, we should beat them, than the teams that you go, ooh, they're a bit tricky, aren't they? Do I think Everton will be more open at the back and more attacking? I don't know. I can't analyse them off one game. Do I think Everton's win over Chelsea was due to the new manager syndrome or just the fact Lampard isn't as good as everyone's made out to be? Better both. Do I think Axel will be better suited to cope with Calvert-Lewin and balls played up to him? I do, but I don't think you're going to see him. Given the form Mason is in, do I think he should start the next game with Marshall playing as a 10? Wait, what? Why would you play Marshall in a 10? With Ollie confirming that he's only looking for long-term targets, what does that mean in terms of strengthening our midfield? Are we not going for a quick fix? I would say don't believe what managers say in press conferences, because you don't know what they're negotiating on the back end. Do I think Everton will sit back and defend if they nip a goal first? If they nip a goal in first, 100%. That's the one thing that you do know without even analysing them. But apart from that, I have no idea. How well do I think Ollie's handling the youth? Oh, brilliantly. Is Shaw first choice now? No. How is Ollie handling your expectations this season? I did predict us to come third. We're probably not coming third. That was a bit of a mad one, wasn't it? I'm not sure. I can't remember what I genuinely completely felt about would happen this season. I was worried that we had such a paper-thin squad that a couple of injuries would really rock us. But I never really processed what that would do to our expectations if we got those injuries, and we did get those injuries. I think everyone, if we started to pick up points against the lower teams and we made ourselves quite unbeatable against the big teams the way we have, we'd probably call that progress, and I'd be happy with that. J Trot, last question, says, since the blue moon that is Ashley Young scoring has happened, do I think we'll see more shots being taken by Young? I hope we don't see any more shots from him because he's not playing. Why would you play him? What reason have you got to play him at all? He's not as good as any of the other fullbacks at the club. Simple as. Right, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to stay tuned, because we'll be doing a watch-along tomorrow on the channel with the boys from Stretford Paddock doing a bit of a takeover. So keep your eyes peeled for that. As I mentioned about the Betfair exchange, if you're interested in more information or want to sign up, the links are in the description. Make sure you're over 18, and if you need any more information, begambleaware.org is the place to go to for that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.